This is why you should never play with things that don't belong to you. Timmy's phone started to ring as he was driving alone at night. He heard the phone, but chose to ignore it. He put his phone on silent and kept driving. He didn't want any disturbances for the rest of the night. He finally arrived at his destination. It was a beautiful mansion, secluded deep in a forest in the middle of nowhere. He couldn't understand why the owners had little to no security, especially for such an expensive property. He parked the car and made the rest of the way by foot to avoid suspicion. He concluded that, as it was hidden from any passing traffic, the owners must have felt confident that no one would ever find it. But they hadn't counted on someone like Timmy following them home that night. He hadn't had to wait long to get an opportunity either. Within a week, he had seen the family leaving the house with suitcases to go on some sort of trip. And Timmy was experienced. He knew from the amount of luggage they had that they would be gone for at least a week. Timmy didn't waste any time making himself feel right at home. After goofing around for some time, he noticed the big portrait in the main hall. There was something eerie about it. He couldn't quite put his finger on it. It felt like the eyes of the portrait were following him no matter which angle he looked from. He started to panic, wondering if the owners could have hidden some cameras, but he came to the conclusion that it wouldn't make sense to have hidden cameras on the inside, but no security on the outside. He started to talk to himself, telling himself to relax and get a grip. He started to imagine what it would be like to live in a place like this. He would be able to buy anything he wanted, travel anywhere in the world at the drop of a hat. He could even learn to play the piano. I mean, how hard could it be? He thought about all of these things while he practiced on the piano. He got so lost in his thoughts that he hadn't noticed the mysterious lady that had suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Strangely, she started dancing and acting very unusual. Definitely not the kind of reaction you would expect upon finding an intruder in your home. She made her way over to the piano and stared at Timmy. He still hadn't noticed her. She finally had had enough and let out a hellish scream. Timmy immediately jumped up from the piano. He took one look at the lady and bolted for the door. The lady started walking slowly towards Timmy. This was so weird. She started to count down from 20 as if giving him a head start. The lady didn't shout or scream. She just seemed like she was being entertained. Timmy was perplexed. He thought to himself, where on earth had she come from? He had been staking out the home for close to a week, and not once had he seen this lady. On top of that, why had he not heard her enter the room? His instincts told him something was not right about this house. He knew he just needed to put as much distance as he could between him and the crazy lady. Just then, he felt a strange presence. Something told him he was in trouble. A voice let out an evil laugh and said, "Aha! There you are." The lady appeared from out of nowhere, just like she did before. Timmy knew at that point there was no escaping this lady. His only chance of survival was to fight his way out. His martial arts training kicked in. He aimed a direct kick at the lady. The next thing he knew, he was on the floor, dazed and confused. He managed to get up again, but then the lady did something truly horrifying. Timmy's last thoughts were of the portrait in the gallery. Everything had just started to make sense to him. Just as he figured out what was happening, the lady leapt at Timmy and sunk her teeth into his neck. He felt a sharp jolt of pain, and then it immediately dissipated and was followed by a feeling he'd never felt before. His whole body had a feeling of warmth and weightlessness. He had an uncontrollable urge to go to sleep. All the problems of the world just went away, and he fell into a never-ending dream.